desire for your children to enjoy reading, you know the benefits of reading. I've shared it over and over again. You know how it stirs the imagination of the soul, how it transports, it teleports you to a different world, how you just get wrapped up in a different world and just get ideas upon ideas upon ideas for new ventures, for new projects, for new goals, and so on and so forth. The benefits of reading are so many. But now you desire for your child to enjoy this experience that you love and you treasure. You want them to enjoy reading. You want them to experience the joy that you have when you buy a book with so much glee and so much joy, and for them to experience the same. And today I wanted to share with you 3 easy ways that your children can enjoy reading. And one of the ways for them to enjoy reading is actually for you to be part of the process, to read with them. I always encourage my friends, and this is what we do in our own home, is that we read with our own children. We get them books, and when we buy these books for them, we sit down with them and we actually read with them. And one of the reasons why reading with your child is so important, it's because they get to see the passion and the joy that you have. And when children, especially at that toddler age, see that joy, see something that you have that you bond together. They see the joy that creating that time together to do an activity lights up on your face. Then they'll be like, you know what, mommy and daddy like this, or mommy loves this activity, and I want every time I'm doing this activity with mommy, she lights up, and so they get that positive energy from you. They won't get this positive energy for reading from nowhere. It just doesn't come from nowhere. One of the reasons for me I was able to pick up the habit of reading is because my mom really loved reading. And every time she will read, she will always get me a book and we will read with her. So like afternoon, Sunday afternoon, lazy afternoon, evenings, we were seated together and we were reading. So we had a thing. It was like a club that you have with your parents, where you have this thing you can do together. I know there are people who have gardening together, and basically the secret is, if you want your child to actually enjoy a passion and an activity that you have to do it with them. If you love biking, you'll have to bike with them. If you love cooking, you'll have to cook with them. So it's like you're passing your love to them, and it's easier for you to mold them, even to read books that are educative, books that are creative, books that you feel as a parent, or books of faith, books that you feel can transform and impact the life of the child. Another tip that I always encourage for my friends to inculcate in their family time is that if you want your child to enjoy reading, you must set a schedule, a specific time when you will read with them. It's like you have to set a routine for reading. It won't come naturally, but you have to determine in your heart that this is the time that you're going to read with my child. And so the child automatically knows, you know what, when I'm with mommy and daddy, or when I'm with either of the parents, this is the time that I'm going to read. And for us, the best time for us, it's in the evening when they're just about to go to sleep. And the reason we do this is, if you've listened to my video, The Power of the Subconscious Mind, is this is the best time to impress upon the subconscious mind desires, hopes, and dreams. And for us, we like reading books of faith at this particular time, and even creative books, but mostly book of faiths, because these are the values, these are the traits that we want to pass on to our children. And thus reading at, especially around bedtime, that's around 8 to 9 for in our household, for them to hear. So when they hear us reading to them and interacting and having playtime with them, vocal variation when you read, laughing together, and knowing that, you know what, this is the time that we read, and this is a fun activity that we look to. It's not a time to cram for exam. It's not a time to bash your child to read. It's just a time for, you know what, let's come. So it's becoming a culture and a habit that you are inculcating in your own home for you and your children to enjoy reading. So setting aside a time, a dedicated time that suits your schedule, such that you are able to to be comfortable reading. Because sometimes if you set your reading schedule early in the morning, you're all running to school, going to work, you're trying to pack, you're trying to eat breakfast, you're trying to just get around your day, you become a bit tense or tight. So the encouragement is always to read at time when you are relaxed, when you don't have activities. Both you and your child have a time that is flexible, and you can be able to just enjoy that schedule. It's a routine. Basically, for a habit to enter into your system, it has to be done at particular times. When you read books of habit, and especially like if you read the Atomic Time, so it says set a time that is dedicated for you to read. My third tip for your child to enjoy reading is, it might surprise you, buying books in bulk. Why I mean that is, for example, the last time when Big Bad Wolf were in Kenya, I bought so many books for them. Like for example, you can see there's Noah, I got them Jonah, I got them Goliath, I got them Moses and the Bulrush, I got them coloring books. And the reason I say buy books in bulk, especially if you have toddlers, is because they get easily bored with one book. So if you only buy one book and you want your child to enjoy reading, they'll be like, you know what, we've read the book of Moses so many times and this is becoming a bit boring. Is there anything else? And when you create that break, when you cut that routine in your reading, then they end up being like, oh, that was just a thing for one day. But when now you have a different type of books, and sometimes it can be coloring books, like this is a coloring book, so basically they get activities to do even as you read. So you get to read for them on the topic that you're coloring, and then that becomes engaging. So they're not bored. They're also not bored with the variation of just you reading. Another thing is, when you get different types of books when you buy in bulk, even you, it gives you psych for reading, because when you read one book you'll become so bored because you know already the story. And by the time you go through, like in a month, for example, by the time you go through the first book, the second book, the third book, the fourth book, by the time they already got on board with the fifth book, you're already back to the first book. So you've given yourself the flexibility of reading a different story. And sometimes you might buy a book, when you buy a book in bulk, they'll find that one book that they enjoy reading, and they'll want you to read even when you're not there. Sometimes you'll just find that that's the book that they have gravitated towards reading. And so I truly encourage you that if you want your children to enjoy the love of reading, getting that excitement from books, one of the things, as I've told you earlier on, is you have to read with them. There's no beating around the bush with that one. There's no way they will acquire a passion out of the blue. Maybe from the neighbors, but for it to last, for it to become long lasting. And I think one of the reasons actually the Bible says, teach this book of the law to your children day and night when they are young, is because, so that they don't depart from it, is because you've inculcated the habit. You've nurtured that habit so much in towards them that when even they grow up, like for example me, even when sometimes I've not bought a book or anything, deep down that longing, that desire to read is there, because the foundation was already established at such a young age that it's become actually second nature. It's not a thing I'm forcing myself. It's not a thing that I'm implanting on myself. And also just setting a time for reading in the evening when you're relaxed, when you know you're not in a rush, and buying your book in bulk. I really, really encourage you to buy your book in bulk. And children books are really not that expensive. You can get a book that is 300 shillings, 300, and when you calculate that, that's like, even if you get 3 books, that's 1,000. And 1,000 is money you can just spend on a coffee date by yourself. So those are my tips, and I hope that they enable you and your child to develop a love for reading that they will be able to carry on to the future when they are older and when you're not there with them. Thank you so much.